God bless football, Mikey A.
God bless football, Izzy.
God bless football, Stugats.
Thank you, Izzy. You didn't say that with a ton of oomph.
Well, I was a little nervous again. I know we've done this before, but it's like when I'm the last one, I'm not 1,000% sure, and I'm supposed to bring it back to you. So that initial lack of energy is just some consternation. I'm just kind of figuring out if I'm doing the right thing.
You're thinking too much, is what you're doing.
Also, it puts me in a church place, and I don't love church, to be honest with you. So it's like, all right, you're normally supposed to be a little quiet, not be all celebratory.
Listen, treat it like football, all right? You might not hit the right person, but hit someone hard, and it'll be all right.
Right.
But in church, if you're back when I was in church, it was you're supposed to say peace be with you at a certain point. You're not going to be peace be with you, brother. And then just give him a big old hug. You got to say it calmly and quietly. So it's this is kind of my peace be with you football.
Athletes that connote church. Priest homes. Huh?
Now, there's a bunch of churches out there as well, but Priest is a good one.
Rick Up Church. Von Wafer is a good one.
Von Wafer.
He's not a cookie. He's not a cracker. He's a wafer.
He's a wafer. That's terrible. Anyway, we'll get to college football. It was a big college football weekend. It was a big sports weekend. Florida State and Virginia. We'll get to that. Oregon, Penn State, LSU, Ole Miss, Georgia, Alabama. Incredible weekend. Had the Ryder Cup going on as well. But Mikey still has more NFL to get to, including if the season ended today, which we'll get to in just a second. But you were telling me before we came on air here a story about A.J. Brown.
Yeah, so the Philadelphia Eagles won in Tampa. They're 4-0. They look like they're ready to go repeat. But A.J. Brown had another quiet day after a week 3 resurgence. And afterwards, he tweeted the following quote: "If you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders, and be on your way."
Izzy, you read that how?
Stu, I read that in combination with the box score. And I say, okay, he said, if you're not wanted, targets 9, second most targets on his team 4. I would say they want to get him the ball. Catches 2, yards 7, less yards than targets. That's a bad day.
But to be clear, the attempt to get him the ball was there, is what you're saying, right?
More than twice as much than any other teammate, they tried to get him the ball. So the part about not being wanted, I call bullshit on. What was the second part? Not being listened to?
Not listened to.
Okay, so unless I don't understand what kind of advice he would be giving them, because they should continue to run the ball as much as they want to and continue whatever short passing game that they have, because they're 4-0.
Right.
Okay. I don't think he understands it.
They're
also
great
defending champs.
No, they're 4-0. They have been to 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls. They should have won the other one. They didn't win against Kansas City. And as Izzy just pointed out, defending Super Bowl champions.
And now give me the end of it again, Mikey.
Quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene. Shrug your shoulders and be on your way.
AKA,
Yes.
look at me, I'm not making a scene. Look at me, I'm not making a scene.
Look over here. Look over here.
This is a classic
I'm not making
case
a scene.
of a guy making a scene by claiming he is not making a scene. That's all he's doing.
But also
he's trying to
announcing-
give off that he has learned how not to make a scene. Team player, 4-0. I didn't have a great game. Doesn't matter. We won. Here I am telling you, I've learned. I'm all grown up. And yet by doing so, by explaining that to you, I am indeed making yet another scene. I love it.
This is the wide receiver equivalent of saying, with all due respect, fuck you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
No, it's not with all due respect, because what you just said is not respectful.
When someone says with all due respect, what's coming up next is going to be disrespectful. Okay.
Yes.
That's it. Right. And when someone says I'm not making a scene, what they're doing is making a scene.
But he's also telling you that as a leader, he's going to withdraw, not really say anything because you guys aren't listening to me. So I'm just going to quietly, but not so quietly, wither into the background like Homer Simpson into the bushes. And you know what your teammates are going to say? Feels like you've been there the whole damn time, because you don't catch anything we throw to you. You really can only run one route to get open. And I've said this before. it's the comeback because he's so strong. He just pushes dude off without the full extension, and he's got wide open for a comeback. If you are going to be this guy on the defending Super Bowl champs, who also champions himself as being this great guy, I think you need a therapist. Like, I think you're confused by what you're trying, like what you're projecting is the exact opposite of what you're trying to project. Meanwhile, they're really trying to get you the ball, bro. It's just not working out for you.
Right. How many targets?
9.
9.
9. In fact,
By the way,
I'm going to go through a bunch of games and see how many other wide receivers out there got more targets. Never mind. There's already 2 in this game.
Okay. I do think it's
They're both
tricky
on
when
the
he looks
Bucs.
at the box score and he sees a guy, Grant Calcaterra, have more yards than he does.
I mean, that can't be a real NFL player.
No, it is. I think he plays
no, it
lacrosse, too.
is. He's a tight end. By the way, if he says quietly withdraw, you tweeted that out to your 266,000
Right.
followers.
Right. But with a shush emoji or something. So it's quiet. I mean, that was just.
I don't think the Eagles care anymore. The AJ can say whatever AJ wants to say. Sirianni can do whatever he wants to do, and they just keep on winning. I don't even think they care. It's like, all
No,
right,
this Grant
AJ.
Calcaterra looks exactly like you would expect Grant Calcaterra to look like.
You looked him up?
I did. It's an impressive widow's peak on that guy, too.
Did he play lacrosse? Can you look into that? I mean,
Oh, yeah. You go ahead with whatever else that might
I think he's a relative or a son of Paul Carcaterra, who was a fantastic lacrosse
What?
player. I
There's a
believe so. I
Carcaterra
could be
tree.
wrong. Yes, Cart
Did not
is
know
what they
that.
call them.
Oh, okay.
Mikey, what else happened before we get to if the season ended today? There was another story about who was it? Raymond on the
Khalif
Lions?
Raymond. Khalif Raymond. Yeah. So Khalif Raymond plays for the Detroit Lions. He scored
Right.
a touchdown in the game
Right, during a ho-hum win. Yeah.
during a ho-hum win, as we
Yep.
found out during hour 2 of Stugatz and Company. And he climbed up into the stands and he
Right.
gave the ball to his wife.
Right.
A sweet gesture, something we've seen a few times.
A ho-hummer
she gave
win.
him a kiss.
Veteran move.
Yeah, but it was after the game where he was asked about it that really probably changed the course of his night. Okay,
I just
because
got
they
the
asked
ho-hummer
him.
part.
You're shaking your head because you thought it. Everything could have ended right there. The ho-hummer win. It's okay, Izzy.
I would argue that you stepped on Mikey's story, though, because he's
Perhaps.
trying to set up.
Perhaps.
But go ahead, Mikey.
You could argue that. You'd be right. Go ahead, man.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So Khalif Raymond was asked about it after the game, and they said on giving his touchdown ball to his wife, surrounded by 64,000 fans, Khalif responded, "All I see is her." And now I dare you, gentlemen, name me somebody more likely to get laid last night than Khalif Raymond. After
Okay,
that.
now drop the line, Stu.
Ho-hummer.
There it is.
I was gonna get the setup. You gotta just get there.
Give it a second. I'm wondering, like, did he know? Obviously, you know where your wife is. You scored a punt return touchdown, probably unexpected, right? I don't, anybody who had an anytime touchdown for
You
him,
don't plan these
probably
things,
rich right,
right,
now.
yes.
And so he gave her the football. Did you think he had, or a reporter had a question about it for him afterward? And how quickly did he go from, ooh, this is a real opportunity here to secure myself quite the evening? Because that has to be how he thought about that, right?
Yes.
You got to think of how perfect it needs to line up for him to be able to do this. One, you need to score a touchdown. Khalif Raymond does not score many touchdowns.
Right.
He's not a focal part.
I'd argue this
But
might
not
be his
only
first.
that-
This might be his first touchdown of his career. I have no idea.
Let's look
right?
that up. Keep going,
he
Mikey.
has a few. But not only that, you have to score a touchdown on the right end zone because you have to be able to run into the end zone and go right to it. It wasn't as if, she was on the sideline. You had to be able to go up into the right part of the end zone to do it. So I wonder how long this has been a plan of his to do this. And he was just so excited that it was all falling into place. Izzy, you've been in locker rooms. Has any player been like, "Hey, do me a favor. You're gonna help me make my night. Just do me a favor. Ask me about giving the ball to my wife. Just,
No.
just
No.
just ask me so I can say something. It's really gonna help a brother out."
Listen, it's your wife. You've already got her locked up. You don't need to help.
You should be able to have sex with her even if you don't block the kick and return.
Yeah,
it for a touchdown.
but there's a difference between having sex with your wife and I gave her the ball and said she's the only one I see in front of 64,000 fans. Sex with
right.
your wife. There's
That's
two
more
more
likely that
things.
Don't you think the wife knows that he's full of bullshit? Like, yeah, come on, he's full of shit. My husband
Doesn't matter.
He noticed 10 people on the way.
Doesn't matter.
Do you think he's the guy who does that all the time? Like he introduces his wife. Hey, here's my wife, the love of my life, and the meaning for why I'm alive. And then she's just like, Jesus Christ, man, just shut up. My name's Carol.
Treat me like a normal human being.
Yeah, he might be the guy.
So we feel bad for Khalif Raymond.
Do you think he was thinking about sex the entire time down the field? Like,
I would be.
What's the point of playing?
Put that one on the poll. How many times do players think of sex right before they cross the end zone every single time?
I would say Michael Irvin 99% of the time. Fair?
I would say he probably thinks of sex a lot of times.
I think we should ask him.
Yeah.
We will try to get him
Pre-snap,
on this week.
post-snap, all the time.
We'll try to get him on for Miami, Florida State coming up this week. Before we get to college, Mikey, if the season ended today, you have playoff matchups for if the season ended today?
If the season ended today, we'd be getting the playoffs of a lifetime.
Oh, my God. It's week 4. I love this.
Week 4. All right. AFC or NFC first? Which one you want, Izzy?
AFC, please.
All right. AFC.
AFC, please.
Yes.
Thanks, Izzy. Shockingly, the Buffalo Bills are the 1 seed, so they have the bye. Okay. But if the season ended today, the Kansas City Chiefs, the 7 seed Kansas City Chiefs, would be traveling to the 2 seed Pittsburgh Steelers.
What a game.
Wow.
Reed, Tomlin, Mahomes, Rodgers. That's how you make it a big game. You just say their names. Say the coaches' names and the quarterbacks' names.
I can't believe Andy Reid's the first name you went to, and you didn't even mention a Watt.
Yes, you're right. A Watt.
That would be a hell of a playoff debut for Mr. Aaron Rodgers, because I think everybody would put their money on Patrick Mahomes right there, right? And Patrick Mahomes getting a chance to knock out, it's a stupid phrase, a GOAT like Aaron Rodgers is something he hasn't been able to do. So I'd put all of my money on Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in that one. But it would be a hell of a matchup.
Well, now this... God.
I have breaking news, guys.
Oh, boy.
Oh. Okay.
Courtesy of Adnan Verk. On First Take right now, they are asking the question. Damian Woody is answering it. Are you more concerned about A.J. Brown or Saquon Barkley right now? They're 4-0.
Explain to me why you would be concerned with Saquon Barkley. Like, let me go look up his numbers real quick, because if you're running back who you already know is a stud, you already know not just you can win a Super Bowl with, but you can game plan around him and win a Super Bowl with. If he is not carrying the ball 1,000,000 times a game, I'm good with that. I'm good because I know teams are gearing up to stop him. I know that if he goes 19 for 43 yards like he did against Tampa, I'm still good. I'm probably still going to get a touchdown out of him, and I know they're always going to consider him a threat.
Saquon set the bar so high for himself last year, it would be ridiculous to think he was going to have the same type of season this year that he had last year. Naturally, defenses were going to focus on him more and stopping the run more. And if you can get to 4-0 against good teams, a really good schedule, without Saquon playing his best football, I'm good with it too. Saquon's going to be healthier as you get towards the end of the season and into the postseason. And so the Eagles are just showing just how good they are, because they're 4-0, and A.J. Brown has had one good game, and Saquon has not been the same Saquon as he was last year.
No, his first game averaged 3.3 yards per rush. Second game, 4.0 yards per rush. Not terrible. Last two, not been great. 2.6 and 2.3. Again, you're talking about the Rams and you're talking about Tampa Bay.
Yep.
Those are two teams with some decent defenses that are going to gear up to stop you, to stop that running back, when you know somebody like A.J. Brown, not really a great option anymore. So, of course, I'm more worried about A.J. Brown than I am about Saquon, especially when you add the fact that Saquon seems to be good leader, good locker room guy,
Yes.
Very likable. AJ
Yes.
Brown, I don't know.
I'm worried about neither. 4-0. Anyway, I'm taking the Steelers over the Chiefs if the season ended today. I am. Steelers over the Chiefs. Yeah.
Is it?
It's a
I need you to pick the
ridiculous
game.
game. Is he doesn't
I
want to
need you to
play
pick
it?
the game.
I'm taking the Chiefs.
Okay. Wow.
I'm not betting. You think I'm taking Aaron Rodgers over Patrick Mahomes at a playoff game in 2025, 26 maybe?
Huh? All right. Maybe this game will tickle your fancy a little bit. All right. The Cincinnati Bengals would be in the playoffs as the 6th seed, and they would be on their way to play the Los Angeles Chargers.
Okay, I have a question.
Well,
If the season
Burrow
ended
healthy.
today.
If the season ended today,
If the season ended
are we
today.
fast forwarding to December and stopping the season now so Joe Burrow's healthy, or the playoffs start next week?
I am telling you the playoffs start. Well, okay, that's a great question. If the season ended today, they would have to go at it with Jake Browning.
Right.
Okay.
So I have zero interest in this game.
Yeah.
If that's the case.
Who are they playing?
The Chargers.
I would take whoever's not starting Jake
Here's
Browning.
what I would
I would
take.
take the Chargers.
I would take the Chargers minus 12.5.
Yes. More.
easily.
Yes.
All right.
Adjusted lines. Yeah.
Maybe you guys want a little bit of intrigue, a little quarterback intrigue. How about we don't know if they're any good? The final matchup in the AFC on Wild Card Weekend, if the season ended today,
Of course.
the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence are traveling to Indianapolis to play the Daniel Jones-led
2 seeds.
That is some crappy playoffs so far. If the season ended today, I'm not going to lie.
season ended today.
How excited am I going to be about that?
Which quarterback's good?
Scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably about a solid 6.
Who would the Colts be playing? I'm sorry, I missed that.
The Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor
Oh
Lawrence.
God, that's a bad game. That is a really, really, really bad game.
That could be the type of game where you're just like, oh, wow, Trevor Lawrence, is he good? Daniel Jones, is he good? And then they both play terribly. And it's like
Right.
a 13 to 12 game, and nobody
Right.
wanted to see it.
The winner of this game would play who, Mikey? Do you know?
I really got into the
no,
weeds here.
because it's the 4-5 matchup. So
Right, because we're playing the season ended today, and it's week 4, and we have 17 weeks to go. So the Colts.
Good game, though.
depends who wins. The other,
I take the
every
Colts
seed.
in that game. I would take the Colts
too.
in that
At
game. I
home.
wouldn't be excited about it, but I take the Colts. You know,
What is time, really? Season can end whenever.
I want NFC matchups now.
NFC, Philadelphia Eagles, the 1 seed, despite Saquon Barkley and AJ Brown doing their best to ruin everything.
Yeah, they suck.
Okay, your 7 seed, Green Bay Packers, are traveling to the 2 seed, San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, I would take the Packers. Yeah.
What an ass backward season this has been.
It's always Packers Niners. I mean, it always comes
Bag of
down,
ass
man.
backwards.
Yes, and absolutely taking the Packers in that
Yes.
one. I do not trust that 49ers team. Even
Yeah,
though
Brock-
3-1.
No, Brock Purdy's the guy you don't trust. Next game, please.
This is the game we get every year, and every year I want it. The Los Angeles Rams are traveling to Detroit to take on the Lions. Stafford, Goff, another round.
So we're clear that would be the final game of the weekend, right? That would be the Sunday night NBC.
Whoa. We don't know what the last.
Get ahead of
there's one more
yourself.
game
I
in the
mean,
NFL.
Jesus. I mean, you know, if the season ended today, just focus on today. I mean,
If it ended today.
Speaking of
ended
Jesus, you know the guy that wrote the Jesus Take the Wheel song died in a plane crash? That's just a side note.
today.
No, not today, but recently.
But if the season ended today,
But if the season ended today,
He'd
we'd
still
be
be dead.
talking about Rams
I
Lions.
know. May he rest in peace. But if the season ended today, what do you think? I mean,
You know what? I actually have a problem with that line. Like, God rest his soul.
right?
I
thought you meant if
died.
the season ended today.
No. That one is fine. Time is, what is time? But if I'm going to
Put
heaven
it on the poll, Mikey. What is time?
and I look up at God and I'm like, hell yeah. Sorry, God. Hell yeah. I made it. What do I want God to tell me? Probably not just rest, my son. Like, I want to have a good fucking time. Like, I already made it up here. Why am I worrying about resting now? Like,
Right.
I'm in heaven. I'd rather say, God show him a good time instead of God rest his soul. Like, come on, man. I'm up here. Like, let's do something. Rest. What kind of fun is that?
So you're taking Goff.
Yes.
I'm
100%
taking Khalif
the
Raymond. I mean, that's what I want to do.
There you go. And your last matchup. If the
Gotcha.
season
I didn't pick
ended
this
today,
matchup. Who did I take?
remember?
Doesn't
Probably
matter.
took Who do you got?
I don't know. I forget the matchup. Anyway, go to the next
Who you
one.
got? It's
Last
Rams,
one.
Lions. Pick a winner, damn it.
I will take the Lions to win that game.
Okay.
Former teammates going against each other. The Seattle Seahawks and Sam Darnold
Fuck him.
are traveling to Tampa Bay
Yeah.
to take on Baker Mayfield.
So yeah, the previous game, Lions Rams, is the Sunday night game, Mikey. You
Yes,
didn't
but
have to
you
tease
can't.
this
But
one
if
like
the
that.
season ended today, you got to play
It
the
could
game.
be Chiefs Steelers, though, actually. It's Mahomes, and, if that played out like that, it could have been, Mahomes Rogers Sunday, 425, something like that. Right?
Cincinnati
That
and the
feels like
Chargers.
that feels like
No,
the
Jake
4:25.
Browning, get outta here.
That's the Saturday evening one, right?
Yeah, but are the Texans in the playoffs?
No.
No.
Yeah.
So there, it's the Saturday 4:00 is definitely Jake Browning. Get that dude off the schedule as soon as
Okay,
possible.
good. But if Burrow happens to come back before the season ends today, then Burrow might be in the 425 slot, right?
I mean, he would have to be a miracle worker to be able
It's
to
a
be
great
back.
game.
Yes. So what's this game?
Seahawks at Bucks.
I take the Bucks to win it.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Yeah, it's an easy one. Yeah.
If the season ended today.
No, I'm taking the Bucks. The Buck stops here.
Can we get
That
to
would
college
suck.
for a
I mean,
second?
really, seriously, if those two teams play each other, it would be an indictment on the Browns and the Jets. It would be. The
the
Browns have
Panthers.
Baker Mayfield. He's off at Tampa hosting a playoff game. And the Jets had Sam Darnold, and he's making his second playoff run in 2 years with two separate teams. I hate them.
The Panthers had both of them
I know.
at the same time.
The NFL needs to turn up. They need to go playoff Europe, right? And pick one terrible playoff game every. You guys go to Madrid. Go play
Right.
this game over there, 9 a.m. All right. You got better
Who played
games
in?
to get
Who was in Dublin yesterday? One of those teams has to stay there for another week.
to. Not the Steelers.
The Vikings
The
actually
Vikings
go
have
to
to stay
London.
there.
Dreadful. What is the NFL doing?
What are you talking about? It's a week in Europe. I'd take that if I'm in.
I know, but you're coming off a loss. I mean, I don't know. You want to
You got
stick
Carson
around?
Wentz as your quarterback. Yeah, I guess you're right. What kind of vacation is it with Carson
You
Wentz?
can't win
as
with
your
anyone,
quarterback?
okay, O'Connell? You can't win with anyone. Izzy, was there a part of you that was rooting for Florida State because you want to have as much juice as you can headed into what is a massive game this weekend?
It's funny.
Florida State, Miami. Were you rooting for Florida State to beat Virginia to have as maximum juice headed into this Saturday?
It's so
game?
funny you should ask that exact question because we did not talk about this at all. And I was watching Florida State, Virginia. I watched it pretty much from beginning to end. And I started off that game and I told Anthony, who was playing video games but not watching, I said, look, you need to cheer for Florida State here because it brings, like you said, more juice to that game next week. It's two undefeated teams, a rivalry. And frankly, if Miami goes on to beat Florida State, it just means more for them to beat potentially, a top 6 team because they were 8 at the time and probably would have jumped a spot or two. But then when shit got tight, the instincts came back and it was, nope. Forget FSU. I want Virginia to win this so badly. And I had no idea how. They just had basically a quarterback who could run a little bit because I don't really know what their offense was. And yet somehow they stayed in that game, ended up winning the game. And by the end of it, both of us were cheering hard for Virginia. And so there was no, and I don't really care that much about Miami, frankly, as a Gator. My Miami ties ended when I, graduated high school and got to UF.
But you care about big games. You love the Miami
do.
Florida State rivalry is something that is a big deal to us down here, right?
Yeah, and then I said to myself, it's still going to be big. The Seminoles can just justify, it's double overtime. It was, on the road. That was, by the way, the cleanest / scariest stadium. What do they call that when they rush the stadium?
Storm the field, yeah.
Storming the field. That was the scariest storming of the field I think I've ever seen. Because the second Florida State did not convert there, the fans just rushed on top of them and those players disappeared. Right. That was scary.
Speaking of storming the field, you cannot be the Illinois fan base and storm the field after getting embarrassed the week before and storm the field because you beat a 22nd or 23rd ranked USC team. You can't do it. Who hasn't been good in a decade. You can't do it. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Everyone in Champaign, Illinois, seriously, act like you've been there before. And you've never been there before. I understand that. But when you get there, act like you've been there before, please.
That was largely disappointing. But, I mean, coming off of that loss, it was probably something they felt like they deserved. How much of Penn
Storming
State...
the field used to mean something, Izzy. It did.
No, it did. It did. And I went to a school, the SEC schools, they very, very, very much try to keep teams or schools from storming the field. So it was kind of like you're really doing something bad if you're an SEC school that did it. But you're right. It doesn't mean nearly as much anymore. Although that Virginia one looked amazing.
I know. What other games got your attention? James Franklin choking again in a big spot.
Well, it was interesting, right? Because that game was 3-3 for a lot of it, right?
Bad.
It was like it was 3-3 at halftime. I turned it on after halftime, and so I saw pretty much most of the scoring. I saw some of the intrigue there. What I saw after the game was wild.
Yes.
Did you see the Dan Lanning interview?
No, I did not.
It was cast as him getting super emotional.
Right.
But that dude was the most coked out coach I've ever seen in my life. And again, I can't confirm this. Just guessing here. Like maybe emotions take you to that place where your face is like uncontrollable while you're talking and stuff. But good Lord, he looked like he had definitely, partaken in a little bit of the fine powder during the game. That dude is intense. And again, if it's completely clean enthusiasm for him,
right,
more power to you, my man, because you're not like most people.
Mikey A, put it on the poll. Did Dan Lanning partake in the fine powder during the game?
I'm telling you, if you take a second and just watch it, listening to it and watching it won't do the same.
Right.
If you watch him in that interview, you will definitely say, there might be a little something there.
Yes, he's a young, energetic, excitable coach who may or may not be on cocaine, according to his review. But James Franklin, it is amazing. This has to be it for Franklin. You cannot have this record against top 10 teams and top 10 teams who are in the Big Ten. You can't keep losing these games and expect to keep your job. You can't do it.
It was weird, too, because they have that reputation, right? And afterward, there's, you read articles saying you can't take Penn State seriously. And yet Oregon jumps to number 2 and gets a bunch of number 1 or first place votes because of the win and leapfrogged Miami, which was on a bye. And so I think there's a level of respect there, especially because, it was an overtime game. Penn State seemed to be pretty good. I mean, I don't really know.
They fought back, right?
They fought, like Drew Aller versus Dante Moore. Like, that's a mismatch. Dante Moore is a hell of a quarterback. And I think might be, is he eligible to leave after this year? I don't know what year he is, but he might be the first quarterback taken when it's all said and done in his draft class because he looks that good. And Drew Aller, he had that one nice touchdown pass, which was a dime. But after that, left a lot to be desired. Wasn't really great in that down the stretch.
Let me give you guys some stats real quick on James Franklin. 4 wins and 21 losses against AP top 10 opponents. The loss to Oregon brought his record against AP top 10 Big Ten teams to 1-18. This record gives him a 160 winning percentage against AP top 10 teams, which is tied for the 3rd worst mark by a coach at a single school since the AP poll era began in 1936.
It's crazy.
At what point does those ranking these teams have to take that into account? Like next year, don't tell me Penn State is so talented you got to rank them in the top. Like, I don't want to hear it.
But their opponents
until they
are.
do
Like,
it.
Oregon's a good team, right?
Sure.
And so they lost to a top 10 team right there.
Yes. Yeah, but
At
they
home.
always lose to a top 10 team. Mikey's saying if they're going to continue to lose to a top 10 team, why put them in the playoffs when you know they're going to lose?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a sure thing almost.
And it was a whites only game, which I like to
It was
call
the whiteout. Yes. Dan Lanning loved that game.
And I mean, that is quite the scene there.
Dan Lanning snorted all the whites. I
There you
mean,
go. That's why it's the whiteout game.
I keep cutting you off with jokes anyway.
No, that's okay. Drew Aller, by the way, should never be compared to Josh Allen again. Just going to go ahead and say that.
Jesus, who's doing
He's
that?
Christian Hackenberg. That's who he is.
Who's
He's Christian
Jets drafted him? Right. Yeah.
I thought Christian Hackenberg was going to be so good.
So did the Jets.
Like, that dude just looked the part. He was in Penn State. It's like, oh, he's certainly going to be the man in the pros. And wow, you saying his name right now is the first time I've heard his name probably since his rookie season.
Christian Hackenberg is like one of 2 players ever to be selected in the top 2 rounds of the draft and never see a snap in the NFL. And the other guy had a major injury that prevented him.
Who was the other one?
I don't even remember.
Oh, okay.
It was like a cornerback in like the late 2nd round.
Was he a Jet?
Yeah.
Hackenberg. Why do we have to play Jets Dolphins tonight?
Definitely don't. There was more to the college weekend that was kind of interesting. I'm trying to remember what it was, though.
There was LSU and Ole Miss. Ole Miss with a big victory over LSU. A lot of people happy to see Brian Kelly lose. There was also Alabama and Georgia. Alabama with a big win over Georgia. Here's the problem with college football. I said it right when they expanded the playoffs. These games, these regular season games, which used to mean everything. You know Georgia can lose to Alabama and very likely still make the playoffs and probably will. So it takes some of the sting out of these regular season games.
But Alabama couldn't lose to Georgia and still make the playoffs, probably.
No, because now it used to be a loss. Now it's two. Once you get to do a dare, you get to a third loss, you are done. So we've just kind of pushed the envelope of losses out a little bit. That's all we've done.
Here was the game that really caught my eye. And it was because, I'd mentioned Dante Moore maybe being the first quarterback pick. Mikey, have we figured out what year he is? Can he come out? Let's figure that out before I am done here for the day. But Fernando Mendoza, who's the new Indiana quarterback. He was with Cal before. If you haven't heard of him, we've talked about him a couple of times. I don't know if it was Sims that was saying he is very much a NFL potential quarterback, but what I was learning, and maybe I need to do this every year, is line up the quarterbacks with their heights, because I don't really know who is what height. Like I thought Garrett Nussmeier was 6'5", but he's only 6'1". Fernando Mendoza is a legit 6'5".
Wow.
This guy is a legit, I think first round, he might end up being the second quarterback taken. Okay. I think he's that good. All right. And I know somebody, just talked to him yesterday, who knows him in person. Great human being, always thanking other people. He's going to nail it in the interview room. Okay. But he did something at the end of yesterday's game that either makes me think he's an idiot, or the entire gambling, the entire number was on his shoulders that day, because he was killing the clock at the end. And
he did what his coach told him to do.
Right. Yes. But if you look at the clock and you look at yourself, and you look at your clock and you look at yourself, you realize, oh, I can go down before I get to the end zone and give this team 2 points that then does not have my team covering the spread here. And so he went all the way back to the end zone. And again, yes, I know that's what his coach said, but did his coach have money on the game? Did his coach have his team not covering? Because that looked wildly suspicious when you consider that the spread was 5.5 and the
just
final
to paint
tally
the picture.
was 5.
Well, no. They were up by 7. The spread, I think, was 7.5 or 8 by the time the game kicked off. Where he impacted the game was the adjusted line. If you bought that thing down to 7, if you bought it down to 6.5, if you got an adjusted line. So they had a 7-point lead, and Izzy's right. A lot of people had the adjusted line. I had it, Izzy, I was one of them. He cost me money. I had it at 7.5. I bought it down to 7. Now, I would have pushed had he just taken a knee. He did it. He did what Cagnetti told him to do, which is take the ball, sprint to the end zone, run out of the end zone, get a safety. We kill the clock. We win by 5. It cost people money. I thought the interesting part was how quickly after the game he realized that he cost people money and talked about it openly.
Yeah. I guess you had to buy the line. Excuse me. You had to buy the line down a little bit.
Yes.
But it does, anytime you make a boneheaded decision like that, which isn't really a boneheaded decision, it's just
smart,
unnecessary. Again, you could have gone down inside or outside of the end zone and still had the same result in the game. People are going to come up with these questions, and it is at the time, did everybody know? Did the sidelines know what the opening line was on that game? I would say if you're on that team, you probably know exactly what the number was, because you want to know whether you're considered a big favorite or an underdog, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So, it's something that must have been in somebody's mind at that point. But if it's a line that you had to buy down, not that big a deal then.
No. Just going back to golf quickly. I'm sorry to do this. Ryder Cup, guys. This is funny. Keegan Bradley announces that the envelope rule must change.
Again, I don't think anybody but Harris English is really going to be able to get people to change that. If he goes around and says, I feel like such an asshole, everybody treated me like crap because I was in the stupid envelope, we need to change this rule. And if it wasn't, if it wasn't a half a point, then maybe we're celebrating the greatest comeback ever. I hate this rule. Harris English has to be the guy.
Luke Donald, of course, the European captain, said, "Nah, the rule is there to protect players. It should remain in place." I love it. Sports.
All you need is a substitute, I'm telling you.
Right. I'm with you on that. What do you guys think of Alabama, Georgia?
I did not know that Georgia had that long of a home winning streak still active. It makes me feel like they were underrated, maybe. Like I thought that was as big a win for anybody on the weekend in Alabama, which is very confusing as to how they just got their shit handed to them in the opening game against FSU. Like, yeah, FSU was good. I think maybe FSU surprised them a little bit. Maybe it was a little bit of rat poison. I don't know, going into the first game, but that didn't seem like the same Alabama team that we saw beat Georgia.
It feels like that's a game that's going to be playing on the minds of Georgia for years, because for years you were losing to Alabama, but you always said, well, it was Saban, it was Saban, it was Saban. Well, right. Saban's not there and you're still losing to Alabama. Like, that's one that when it comes around again, you're going to go, maybe they just have our number.
I'm just reading some more headlines about the Ryder Cup. I'm sorry. And Micah Parsons saying he's disappointed that his defense gave up fucking 40 points to the Cowboys. I think that's laugh out loud funny. Hey, don't trade Micah Parsons. Don't trade him. How dare you trade him? And in a revenge game, they score 40 points on the team that the Cowboys traded him to.
Mikey, how much do you love Stu doing show prep when we're 80% through with the shows for the day?
Oh, listen, things are updating. It was a big sports weekend, and I'm telling you, I told you, listen, when we started today, what did I tell you? Everyone was going to be outraged about an envelope rule that no one knew was a rule before yesterday started. And now we have to change the rule. Do we? I mean, maybe we do, but it's just funny to be outraged about it after the event as opposed to before the event. The rule has been in place since the start of the Ryder Cup. I mean,
or maybe say something like when you actually make the rule, right? When you, oh, wow, we had to go by this. We had to give them a half a point. Now, they were so behind, they probably were like, it's never going to come down to that half point. I'm not going to bring it up. You just got to get ahead of it. You just got to say right before the single starts, say, hey, we had to give away a half a point. We don't feel good about it. As a team that needs every effing point to make this comeback, we think the rule should change. Say it in the front end. That way you have actually some legs to stand on the back end after you lose by a point.
Luke Donald is saying there's a captain's agreement. These are terms we agreed to, both captains, before the thing. And now Keegan Bradley, the Stugotz is strong in him, is coming out afterwards and saying, fuck the captain's agreement. We need to change the rule now. He agreed to it.
I'm so glad we got back to this. They definitely did not think it was going to be an issue. They did not think it was going to be an issue when they said, okay, of course, we're going to keep this rule, nor when they were like, okay, let's put Harris English in there. They never thought it was going to come down to that. Then all of a sudden, oh, my neck. And then, and then it's that.
And then Donald's going on because he won and he's being the captain and he's being brash. Okay, he's being Liam Cohen and he's saying, "Hey, it actually cost us a half point. Hovland would have won."
I mean, look, if
golf is getting spicy,
not quite, a little bit of salt. It's not a whole lot of spice,
right?
But if that half point, let's say the U.S. gets the full point. The pressure is even greater on those European players on the back end trying to salvage the win. So I think it does matter. I did want to get back to the Georgia-Alabama game for a second because I feel like the person that feels most, proven correct or just feels the best about Georgia struggling is probably Carson Beck. When I say struggling, I mean specifically Gunnar Stockton. Like, he had a big game against Tennessee, had a pretty good game against Appalachian State, but he wasn't good against Alabama. He wasn't even good against Marshall, I would say, in the opener. That was an easy win. It was a little ho-humish. But I think if Carson Beck has got to be looking at it like, see, you assholes, it wasn't me.
Put it on the ball. Is Carson Beck telling everyone, see, you assholes, it wasn't me?
Yeah, I mean, they got a guy named Gunnar, and he can't win it all.
Right. That's a good point.
I mean, maybe he can, but can't beat Alabama.
That's a very good point. But they have Kentucky, Auburn, Mississippi, Florida, Mississippi State, Texas, Charlotte, and Georgia Tech the remainder of the way.
That's a lot of games.
And you can't lose another game. Well, you can lose one more game. You can't lose three. Is that where it's at?
I mean, there's definitely two lost teams going to be in there on a 12-team playoff for sure.
I thought you had something. You turned on your mic, Mikey.
Me too.
No.
Yes. No. You had nothing? I'm out of guess. I can't believe that I just can't believe that he's complaining about a rule in which there was a captain's agreement and he's saying, I have my ideas. This is a Keegan. I have some thoughts. I have some ideas. I'm not going to share them now. I'll share them at a different time. You should have shared them before the fucking thing started.
Wait a second. Isn't that stolen from you? I've taken notes. I got a lot of notes. Is that wake and take?
Yes. Yeah, you know what happens though, Izzy, when I see myself in the mirror and it's not me looking back at it, but it's Keegan Bradley, it outrages me for some reason. If it's me, it's acceptable. Keegan Bradley should live to a higher standard. I mean, seriously. Now you're complaining about the rule. Now you have thoughts and ideas. That would have been helpful when you signed the fucking contract.
Look, man, it's a classic American move. You lose, you just find ways to make excuses, man. Like they got buried in those first 2 days, absolutely buried. And now this envelope rule is what they have to hang their hat on after such a dismal performance. And let's be honest, they could have come back and won that shit, but there was a couple of putts down the stretch that they didn't make. So I don't want to hear. You know what? I've changed my mind on it altogether. I hate the fact that he's complaining about this envelope rule. He just knew everybody would have his back here in the States. Nah.
Do you think Keegan Bradley is upset about the rule because he had to reveal that Harris English was the guy he had the least amount of faith in on his team?
Okay, let's be real. If you're the guy that's going to get put in the envelope, they don't really like you.
Right.
You're not one of the guys. You were like awful. One of the last. They probably even had a hard time picking him because of his name. Yeah. Right? And they're like, come on. Are we going to really bring this Harris English guy and bring the European vibes over here? It doesn't make any sense. Right. And let's just slide him into the envelope and see if dude wakes up with a bad neck.
Do you think he said that to Xander Schauffele?
Schauffele? Who was the guy? Who was in the European envelope? It had to be that Hogegaard something, right? God bless golf.
We have no idea how to say his name. Let's stick him in the envelope.